Hi there. I'm Lena, and this is Teacher David. Welcome back to my channel.
Hello, everyone. We're so excited to have you here today.
Today's video is all about mastering pronunciation. If you've ever felt nervous speaking English because you're not sure if you're saying the words correctly, don't worry, you're not alone.
Exactly. Many English learners face the same challenges, and that's what we're here to help with.
Together, we'll guide you through the most common sounds that trip people up, and by the end,
You'll feel much more confident in your pronunciation.
so grab a notebook, get comfortable, and let's get started.
Good pronunciation isn't just about sounding perfect or native. It's about making yourself understood.
Imagine talking to someone and they totally get what you're saying without needing you to repeat yourself. Feels good, right?
That's the power of pronunciation. It boosts your confidence, helps you connect better, and avoids those awkward misunderstandings we all want to avoid.
English pronunciation can be tricky, though. Some sounds are so similar that they can trip up even the most experienced learners.
Think about the difference between ship and sheep, or how the sound doesn't exist in many languages.
It's easy to see why pronunciation can be confusing. But don't worry, that's exactly what we're here to fix.
In this video, we're going to break it all down step by step. We'll focus on some of the most common English sounds that learners struggle with.
You'll learn how to pronounce them clearly, understand the mistakes to avoid, and even practice with me along the way.
Here's the plan.
First, we'll dive into vowel sounds, the difference between short and long vowels.
Like in cat and cake.
Then, we'll tackle tricky consonants, like the R and L sounds.
Which are challenging for many learners.
And of course, we can't forget the infamous TH sounds.
As in this and think.
We'll wrap up with tips to practice pronunciation in your daily life and sound more natural over time.
By the end of this video,
You'll have the tools to take your English pronunciation to the next level.
all right, let's jump right into our first sound, the tricky sound.
Did you know that this sound actually comes in two versions? That's right. There's the voiced TH, like in the word this, and the voiceless TH, like in think.
Let's break it down so you can master both.
Voiced TH. The voiced TH happens when your vocal cords vibrate while you make the sound. To feel this, lightly place your fingers on your throat.
Now say this. Feel that vibration? That's what makes it a voice sound.
To pronounce this correctly, put the tip of your tongue just between your teeth.
Your tongue shouldn't be too far out or tucked behind. Gently press your tongue against your top teeth and let the sound flow.
Try it with me.
This,
That.
mother.
Great. Keep practicing until you feel that vibration every time.
Voiceless TH.
Now, let's talk about the voiceless TH. This time, there's no vibration.
Place your fingers on your throat again and say the word think.
Do you notice the difference? No vibration means it's voiceless.
The tongue placement is exactly the same as the voiced version, just between your teeth.
But here's the key. You gently blow air out as you make the sound. Watch closely and repeat after me.
Think,
Think.
teeth.
Perfect. Keep practicing these words and pay attention to the airflow.
Practice exercise, words and phrases.
Let's put it all together with a quick practice session.
I'll say the word or phrase, and you repeat after me. Ready?
Voiced TH.
This,
That.
that.
Another.
Now let's dive into voiceless TH.
Think.
Thanks.
Thursday.
Toothbrush.
Now let's try some phrases.
This is my mother.
I think it's Thursday.
Thank you for everything.
Take your time and repeat these phrases as many times as you need.
Pronunciation is all about practice, so don't rush it. With each repetition, you'll get better and better.
Final tip for the TH sound.
One last tip. If you're struggling with the tongue placement, try practicing in front of a mirror.
Seeing how your tongue moves can really help you fine-tune the sound. And don't worry if it feels awkward at first. It's all part of the process.
Now that we've nailed the TH sound, let's move on to our next tricky English sound. Ready? Let's go.
Let's talk about the R sound. Did you know that the way people pronounce the letter R can vary depending on where they're from?
For example, Americans pronounce it differently than the British or Australians.
If you've ever heard someone from the UK say car, it might sound like say H, where the R is softer or even silent. In Australian English, it can sound similar, say H. But in American English, the R is much stronger, as in car.
That's what we're focusing on today, the American R. Let's get into it.
American R sound. The American R is a tricky sound because it requires a specific tongue position.
Here's the secret. Your tongue shouldn't touch the roof of your mouth or your teeth. Instead, it pulls back slightly, and the sides of your tongue lightly touch your upper molars.
Let's try it with the word red. Say it with me. Red. Notice how your tongue curls back slightly but doesn't actually touch the roof of your mouth? That's the American R.
Common errors to avoid. A common mistake is making the R too soft, like in British English. Instead of red, it might sound like raid.
Another mistake is not curling the tongue enough so the sound becomes flat.
Here's a tip. Practice saying the R sound slowly at first, exaggerating the tongue movement. Over time, it'll feel more natural.
Practice exercise, words, and contexts.
Let's practice some common words with the American R sound. I'll say the word, and you repeat after me. Ready?
Red, road, river, right, rain. Now let's try some phrases. Repeat after me.
The red car is on the road.
I turned right at the river.
It's going to rain today.
Great work. Remember to focus on curling your tongue and making that strong R sound.
The more you practice, the more natural it will feel.
Final tip for the R sound.
If the R sound still feels tricky, try practicing with a mirror.
Watch how your tongue moves and compare it to what we just covered. Small adjustments can make a big difference.
And don't forget, it's okay to make mistakes. That's how you learn.
Now that we've tackled the American R, let's move on to the next sound.
You're doing amazing so far, so keep it up.
Let's dive into vowel sounds.
English has many vowels, and some of them can be a little tricky.
Especially because they rely on the shape of your mouth and the position of your tongue.
In this section, we'll focus on a few common vowel sounds.
Like the in cat and the E in bed. By the end, you'll know how to pronounce them clearly and confidently. Let's get started.
Vowel number 1. The shortest sound, as in cat.
The short sound, like in the word cat, requires you to open your mouth wide and keep your tongue low. Try it with me. Cat.
Hot. Apple.
Notice how your mouth is slightly open and your tongue stays near the bottom of your mouth?
That's the key. Let's practice a sentence.
The cat sat on the mat.
Say it slowly and focus on keeping that short, crisp sound.
Vowel number 2, the short E sound, as in bed.
Next, Let's look at the short E sound, like in the word bed.
For this sound, your mouth stays relaxed and your tongue is in the middle of your mouth, not too high or low.
Try these words with me.
Bed, red, end.
Now let's practice a sentence.
The red bed is at the end.
Feel how your mouth stays more relaxed compared to the sound? That's what makes it unique.
Common mistakes with vowel sounds.
A common mistake is confusing vowel sounds. For example,
Learners might say caught instead of cat or bad instead of bed.
this happens when the mouth shape isn't quite right.
The best way to fix this is to practice slowly, exaggerating the sounds, and paying attention to how your mouth moves.
Practice exercise, words, and sentences.
Now it's time for some practice. Repeat after me.
Shorter words.
Cat, hat, fast, happy,
Shorty words.
bed, pen, said, better.
Now let's try sentences. Repeat after me.
The cat is happy in the hat. The red pen is on the bed.
Take your time and focus on getting those vowel sounds just right.
Final tip for vowel sounds.
Here's a tip. If you're unsure about your vowel sounds, try recording yourself.
Play it back and compare it to how I'm saying it here.
Listening to yourself is one of the fastest ways to improve.
Great job so far. With practice, these vowel sounds will become second nature. Let's move on to our next topic. You're doing fantastic. Congratulations. You've just taken an important step toward mastering English pronunciation. Let's quickly review what we've covered in this video.
Recap of key points.
First, we tackled the TH sound, learning the difference between the voiced version, like in this, and the voiceless version, like in think.
Then we dove into the American R sound, working on curling the tongue and making that strong, clear R.
Finally, we practiced vowel sounds, like the short in cat and the short E in bed, understanding how your mouth shape and tongue position affect pronunciation.
The importance of practice.
Now, here's the most important part, practice. Mastering pronunciation doesn't happen overnight. It takes consistent effort and repetition. But the good news is, the more you practice, the easier it gets.
Try to incorporate these sounds into your daily conversations, or spend a few minutes each day practicing the exercises we did together. Little by little, you'll see improvements.
Engage with your audience.
I'd love to hear from you. What's the one English sound you find the most challenging to pronounce? Is it the TH sound, the R sound, or maybe something else?
Leave a comment below and share your experiences. I'll do my best to respond with tips and advice to help you out. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. We're in this together.
Final encouragement.
Your effort today is already a big step forward. Keep practicing, stay patient with yourself, and celebrate every little improvement. English pronunciation might feel tricky at first, but with time and persistence, you'll master it.
Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy learning!
The story of Anna. From silent listener to confident speaker.
Once upon a time, in a small town in Brazil, there was a girl named Anna. Anna loved the English language. She listened to English songs, watched movies without subtitles, and even dreamed of traveling to the United States one day. But there was one problem. Anna was terrified to speak English. Whenever she tried, she felt like her words didn't come out right. Her pronunciation was messy, and she often mixed up sounds like the and das. One day, during her English class, the teacher asked her to read a sentence out loud. "The weather is nice today." Anna tried her best, but it came out like this. "The weather is nice today." The whole class laughed. Anna's face turned red, and she promised herself she'd never speak English again. A new beginning. For weeks, Anna avoided speaking in class. She thought, "I'll never get it right. English is just too hard." But one day, her mother, who spoke no English at all, handed her a small notebook and said, "Anna, if you really love English, don't give up. Write down what you struggle with and practice a little every day. Small steps can take you far." Anna looked at the notebook. At first, she didn't know where to begin, but later that night, she opened it and wrote one question at the top of the page. "Why is English pronunciation so hard for me?" She thought about it and realized it wasn't because she wasn't smart. It was because she hadn't spent enough time practicing the sounds that were hard for her. With that in mind, she wrote 2 goals. 1, learn how to pronounce the "the" sound. 2, speak 1 sentence in English every day, no matter how hard it feels. The struggle with the tough sound. The next day, Anna started working on the ADH sound. She watched videos online and practiced in front of the mirror. At first, it felt so strange. She stuck her tongue between her teeth to say "think" and "this," but it sounded more like "sink" and "z's." Anna felt frustrated. "Why does the sound even exist?" she muttered. But she remembered her mother's words. Small steps. So she tried again. She put her fingers on her throat to feel the vibration for the voiced "thith" in "this." She practiced blowing air gently for the voiceless "thith" in "think." Little by little, it started to feel less strange. Surprise challenge. After a few weeks, Anna's teacher announced a pronunciation contest. Each student had to stand up and read a short paragraph in English. The thought of speaking in front of everyone made Anna's stomach twist. What if they laugh at me again, she thought. But something inside her said, "This is your chance to show how much you've improved. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be better than yesterday." Anna spent hours practicing the paragraph at home. She focused on every sound, especially the tricky ones. She repeated the words mother, Thursday, and weather over and over until she could say them without hesitation. The big day, the day of the contest arrived. Anna's hands were shaking as she walked to the front of the class. She took a deep breath and began. "The weather is nice today. My mother and I are going to the market on Thursday. I think it will be fun." The room was silent. No one laughed this time. Instead, her teacher smiled and said, "Well done, Anna. You've improved so much." Her classmates clapped, and Anna felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Pride. She knew she still had a long way to go, but for the first time, she believed she could do it. The journey continues. From that day on, Anna practiced every single day. She worked on the R sound by saying words like red and road. She learned how to pronounce vowels like the A in cat and the E in bed. When she made mistakes, she didn't feel embarrassed anymore. Instead, she laughed and tried again. Months later, Anna got her first chance to speak with a native English speaker, a tourist asking for directions in her town. At first, she was nervous, but she remembered all the work she had done. She smiled and said, "The train station is over there. Have a nice day." The tourist understood her perfectly and even complimented her English. Anna couldn't believe it. All her hard work was paying off. A message for you. Anna's story isn't just about pronunciation. It's about believing in yourself and taking small steps every day to reach your goals. If you feel like Anna did, nervous, frustrated, or unsure, remember that you're not alone. Pronunciation is a skill, and like any skill, it gets better with practice. You might struggle with the TH sound today or mix up your vowels tomorrow, but every little effort you make brings you closer to success. Just like Anna, you can go from a silent listener to a confident speaker. Keep practicing, stay patient, and never give up. You've got this.